So, Rich, tell me what makes a good story? What makes a good movie? What in your opinion does it take to make a good story?
Well, I think that the best films have a great message. I mean, that you start with some sort of a message, something that you want to get across to the audience, and then it's told well through really wonderful characters that you care about, and characters that you can relate to in some way that are that have flaws and uh, have problems, things they want to solve, things they want to accomplish in their lives, or at least one main character that does.
Hmm.
And I think it's a lot of it has to do with the point of view. I think it comes from the writing and the direction and production. There is a point of view that the filmmakers are trying to. The filmmakers are doing their best to get across throughout the film, and it's not necessarily hitting you over the head, but hitting you over the head with the message. But it's always there. It's always leading towards some point. And I know there's always maybe more than one point to a film. There's subplot. There's a story and B line and thing. You can get into all the technical stuff, but they're really, to me, it's like the films that are very that have a very that have the most impact are the ones that they really have a certain point of view and a certain message that they're trying to get across. And I think those are the most, to me, those are the most successful films and most fun to watch and and go through all the trials and tribulations of thereof. So.
So, yeah, how do you think that character, makes story? What what do you think? What do you think makes an interesting cast of characters?
Well, I think if you, I mean, if you think about the characters as well, they are character is story, story is character. I mean, it all intermeshes. So I think as long as the characters you pick represent something, because just like people sort of represent something, some people are very giving people, some people are takers, some people are consider themselves losers, and maybe they become winners. I think it's you look for real real types, real character types, in real life, and I think that's how you figure out. I mean, whenever you try to figure out how would this character react to someone all of a sudden jumping out on them, or scaring them, and the best thing to do is really examine how do real people react to things.
Hmm.
And even though in films, things are bigger than life, and things are exaggerated, things are made more spectacular than everyday life. It's still you still I think have to go back and sometimes argue it out with the writer or with people you're working with, the actors, and you work out, okay, what is the most believable way of depicting this situation, this fearful situation or happy situation, whatever the emotions are we're trying to get across. How do we do this in the most natural way so that the audience will buy it, even though it's happening on Mars, or it's happening to some sort of elf, a bunch of elves, or something that's fantasy or unbelievable.
Hmm.
You have to keep humanizing this stuff, and when it doesn't, I mean, when it works, you know it, and when it doesn't work, boy. Usually you know it. Hopefully you know it.
Hmm.
Hopefully you're not being told it works by people that like you too much. You want to show it to some other people too. I mean, that's important too. As you go through this stuff, is show it to people that get a fresh eye on it.
Yeah.
Show it to some other people down the road that aren't down the line, that maybe aren't right up there at the top level with you as you advance these things. I'm sort of rambling a little bit here, but just getting back to the character, it's you have to study real life. It's just like when we're doing drawings, we're studying anatomy in order to do better fantasy. It's the same thing. You study from real life, and then you take it from there, and take it to this other dimension, this fantasy dimension, or this fictional dimension that we're dealing with.
Hmm. Okay.
Am I
Well,
rambling?
well, it's a good kind of rambling. Yeah. What what do you have people that you like to work with as far as stories concerned, or are there certain people that you would consider to be key in a team approach to movie making as far as the pre-production is concerned, the story aspect of it?
Yeah, I mean, I've had really good success, working with the writers and the storyboard artists, and bringing if when possible, you bring in animators, and get some feedback, get a fresh view on whatever it is you've been doing. Because I mean, the story meetings are just so valuable. I mean, there's just it's just incredible how you can move something ahead, and even idea. I mean, you'll get ideas that you'd never have thought of if you're sitting alone in a room trying to write something. Just to get some feedback and somebody else a reaction, and you just never know. I mean, I've had great success that way dealing with the crew. And then the other aspect of that is when the crew gets more involved in the story and comes up with some ideas, they feel more invested in the whole thing. So when they're doing their part of it, they have a better understanding of the whole process, where you were coming from with the story, where you and the writers are coming from. They I think they do a much better job in their jobs too. So I think there's a real value to getting other, even if you only use one idea out of a whole meeting, maybe only one good idea comes out. There's something about that process is so healthy. And sometimes down the road you'll go, remember what Robert said 6 months ago? Well, now it really makes sense to us. Let's use that now. So.
Mm-hmm.
There's a real richness to involving the crew, I think, in this whole process.